Hello? Huh. I could hear you now. There we go. Yeah, so, where are you calling from today?
Texas.
Fullerton.
From Czechia.
Seattle,
Arkansas,
Vancouver, BC,
Louisiana.
And wherever you're tuning in, welcome. I'm Spencer. I love going to the airport. I tend to bite my nails when I'm really anxious, and I love me a really good bottle of Sprite. Okay, so everyone has their own narrative. Milking Ardor is the place where people can talk about the life lessons they've learned, the experiences they've faced, and the passions they've developed. It's a place to express yourself freely and gain new perspective. On this episode, we'll be hearing from my friend Bianca. It's where we discuss what it's like living in a realm of technology and how making friends has never been easier. Then Katie on catching birds and what nature means to her. Then finally, Agnes. Not only is her story inspirational, but she finds inspiration every day to help young people flourish. So, without further ado, here's how my conversation went with Bianca. So this is a little different from all my other calls because you're like the first person I've already known. But for those who don't know you, who are you and what's kind of the spiel of who you are?
I'm my name is Bianca, and I I'm friends with Spencer. Yeah.
That's very cute, Bianca.
Thank you.
Okay, Bianca. It's okay. Like, take a deep breath.
I don't know what to say.
We're just talking. Like, imagine we're like at school or something.
Oh, okay.
Imagine this conversation at I would say coffee, but I know like you're really into boba. So like, imagine you're at like a boba,
Okay.
a boba shop, and then you're like, we're just like having a drink of boba.
Okay.
The audience is nearly just a fly on the wall.
Okay.
No pressure. And if you ever say something that you want me to take out, I could totally take it out. That's totally fine.
Okay.
So
Okay.
no pressure, Bianca.
Okay.
So what I really wanted to talk about today, Bianca, is online friends, and I know that you're kind of into that scene, but I feel like most young people nowadays are just kind of actively seeking friends online. So kind of, when did you get into online chat rooms or just apps that allowed you to connect with people virtually?
So my parents never let me have social media, so I had to get all the apps on my own, and then my parents beat me up for it, but then like they said, okay, it's whatever. So I guess I started like going into freshman year, and I started Instagram and everything, and basically I just made friends by common interest, and yeah, that's basically it.
What has your experience been with online chat apps as a girl? Would you say that being a
As
girl
a
has
girl.
heavily influenced your experience?
I mean, it depends on what it is. Like, for example, like on Instagram and stuff, like finding friends and everything, it's normal being a girl because there's a bunch of other girls and stuff. So you get put into a group chat on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and then there's a bunch of other girls there, and you're not the only girl. But like
Yeah.
when it comes to gaming and stuff, like that's when it kind of changes. So when you're put in like a gaming server, like a small gaming group chat, it's like kind of normal to be the only girl. Because I don't meet as much gamer girls. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like still that stigmatization of like
Mhm.
video games are still for boys.
Yeah.
So what do you think of like kind of the rise of popularity of video games now that girls are kind of becoming more popular in video games? Would you say that
Yeah. I
the
think
experience has changed?
I don't see it change. I actually came into the gaming community like pretty late when I started gaming.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see it as strange. I'm actually happier about it because at least I don't feel somewhat left out. I guess. But
Yeah.
in a way, like I don't feel left out. And then like it's like it depends on which guys you game with, like as a girl. Because
Mm.
there's either those really toxic guys or the guys that are like really cool and stuff, and they'll consider you as like the boys or whatever. So it really depends, yeah. But girls coming into the community for gaming, I think is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't think it's awkward. I'm just really happy about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a big part of it too is, especially with the internet, it's so easy
Mhm.
to have an online alias. No, I have an online alias. You have an online alias. Sometimes I'll go
Mhm.
by Grady, which is my middle name,
Mm.
rather than
Mm.
Spencer. But I think
Yeah.
with online aliases and just being able to be anonymous, people could be so toxic. And I love it and
Mhm.
hate it at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So going
Mhm.
back to online chat rooms, do you ever ghost
Mhm.
people and kind of like explain what ghosting is?
Oh, I think I ghost people unintentionally. But
And how do you
is
do that unintentionally? Do you just like
it,
read it and like forget it, or just move on to the next person?
yeah, like sometimes like because I end up talking to a lot of people and I don't even realize it myself until like later, and I'm like, wow, I'm talking to a bunch of people, and then I realize like, oh shoot, I haven't responded to these people or whatever. And when I do ghost people, sometimes it's intentionally, but like normally if I do, it's because I forget to like respond back, so I accidentally leave them on red, or like I fall asleep trying to text them back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a guy that I ghosted for like 2 years, so
Oof. Do you ever text him back?
I did
Nice,
after
Bianca.
2 years.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
I know. Ah, I felt bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I ghost people, but it wasn't until recently where I like kind of started intentionally ghosting people.
Yeah,
And
same.
whenever I did ghost people, it was unintentional. I just totally forget about them and be
Mhm.
like, "Damn, they haven't replied back to me." Which, on the contrary, is me actually not getting
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
them.
No, yeah, yeah, same. Exactly, same.
And I've been thinking about this question a lot, just even before this. But like,
Yeah. Mhm.
what do you do if you're like talking to someone and then things were like going good, and then you're like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't really want to talk to this person anymore. Like, what do you do then? Do you just like,
Oh my god. I actually like in this situation, like low key.
hmm, yeah,
Um, I um I start to make myself busy at the same time, so then I don't have time to talk to them.
so are you like actually making yourself busy, or are you just like lying to them?
I like no, like I actually do make myself busy because like I realize that it's also like me like talking to a specific person and everything takes a bunch of my time, and I don't want to like I feel like I'm the type of person to really commit to stuff, but it's like if it's like gonna be talking to one person like through most of the day when I could be like doing a lot of stuff on my
Yeah,
own that I should do because like it's summertime and if school starts again I don't have time for that, then like I want to have time for myself, so that's why I start doing stuff that I want to do, like I put myself first, so I'm not lying to them, but it's like I'm trying to do
be
something
more
for myself.
productive.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like, what's the point of having online friends versus face to face friends?
um Honestly, I personally don't really like having face to face friends. It's not like I don't like people, but
Yeah.
like it's like I had trouble making friends in a way. I mean, like I'm a pretty like open person. Like once you get to know me, and then like I have trust issues too. So
Yeah.
especially knowing people in real life, like um, it's like I don't know, like especially in school, like if like I know someone in real life, like I'm kind of scared because it's like school, you know. But then when
Yeah.
it's like I just don't feel comfortable talking face to face. I don't know why. I'm just that type of person. There's only a few people I'd really want to be friends with in real life. But then on like social media and like online, I don't mind making a lot of friends, and I think it's because they're not face to face. I don't feel scared and
You have that
shy.
security of knowing that.
Yeah, Mhm.
no one really knows who you are, which is fine,
Yeah.
but comforting
Yeah.
at the same time.
I don't know. I just feel like I end up being a lot closer with some of my online friends because it's also that like compared to like in real life, I feel like since online is a whole different other community, you're
Hmm.
able to find people that are more like you, unlike in real life, like how the people I know in real life is so limited and not a bunch of people have the same interests as me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't actually know this about me, but I actually went
Mhm.
through therapy not too long ago.
Um, mm,
And one thing my therapist said to me was like how she hates the term IRL friends. And I
oh.
feel like that kind of like I kind of agree with that to a sense. I feel like that kind of discredits our friends online. You know,
Mhm.
like there I think because of the stigmatization, people don't give people who are making friends online enough credit, really.
Mm,
Saying that like relationships kind of fake or it's not real. What do you think of
uh,
that?
yeah. I feel like, cause when you say like relationships fade more on online friends, I feel like it's true in a way, because you in online again, it's like a whole different community, and there's a bunch more people than you know in real life, and I feel like you just end up knowing a bunch of other people online, and you end up having too much that you end up like forgetting about some people, which I have, and I really regret. But yeah, I don't really.
Yeah,
Ah, yeah.
yeah. I think it's gonna be very interesting. Have you ever seen the movie Ready Player One?
No, I don't think so. No.
I ask, okay. Or have you seen Adventure Time?
Oh, a little bit of it, yeah.
All right. So basically, in that movie and in that show,
Mhm.
they both have these two elements, and it kind of gets to a point where life is all online, right? So it's
Mm,
kind of like
yeah,
all being in VR
yeah.
essentially. So I'm very curious on in like 20 years when or 30 years when we get to this point of time where all we're doing is just working, interacting online. So I'm
Mhm.
very excited about that.
Yeah, yeah. I
All right.
agree.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Bianca, for
Okay.
talking to me. I know
Okay.
it's very short, but I think you did really good.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Oh,
I'll get back to you.
okay. Okay then.
Bye,
Okay,
Bianca.
that's fun. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you. Nice to finally meet you, Katie.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been basically just working from home today, so it's been easy.
Mm. So, Katie, let's say you're on a first date. Give me the spiel of who you are.
Oh gosh. Okay. Um, I am 26 years old. I was born and raised in Arkansas, but I actually moved up to Pennsylvania in the Philly area for work, so that's where I'm at now. I catch birds for a living, believe it or not. um, and basically I just enjoy, going on like nature walks, looking for fossils. I do some oil painting every now and then.
Yeah.
Uh it's pretty much just do whatever. I
Mm.
like a lot of different things, so
Yeah. I think that's really interesting that you catch birds. And I saw on your Instagram that you have all these photographs of nature. Can you tell me more
yeah.
about that?
Yeah, definitely. So it kind of goes hand in hand with my job. I end up traveling around the area. Basically, I end up servicing stores and facilities anywhere within like 150, 300 miles around my house.
Hmm.
So anytime I drive out and I do a job, if I finish it early, then I just look for like the nearest trailhead or the nearest state park, and I go out and do some bird watching and look for any kind of critters, animals, just fun stuff. I actually recently bought myself like a nice camera, so I've been learning how to use that. So
Yeah.
it's
I think that's really cool, Katie. Like how tell me about like how you go on about catching a bird. Is there like a certain way to do it, or do you need a
yeah.
cage?
No, it's actually we use nets. It's pretty fun. Like I like it a lot because there's a lot of strategy involved. You go into a facility and you figure out, okay, where is this bird flying? You basically have to figure out it's flying from point A to point B.
Mm.
Its favorite spots are, you know, the water, the food,
So you
whatever.
find patterns in each animal.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. That's it. And then you find the best spot to put your net up and toss it up there, and then hopefully the bird gets caught. And it's really nice because it's catch and release. So
Mm.
it's we catch the bird and just get it out of the store without hurting it.
Now tell me, Katie, do you have like any memories associated with your love for animals?
Hmm. Um. Yeah. I mean, honestly, just growing up in Arkansas, my dad, he's like a big outdoorsman,
Did he
big
catch
time
birds
into
too?
like. No, he's more of a hunter, so I guess
Mm.
yes, but not in the nice way.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
um, but it's like, you know, just going out with him, I would go hunting, and I'm making air quotes right now. You can't hear it. But it would basically just be me sleeping in the blind, and he would wake me up when there was something interesting to see.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun, like, you know, just going out and being outside in nature, just enjoying it. You know, you would find deer, turkey, lots of little
Hmm.
birds, just getting to see stuff that, you know, just flipping over rocks. Sometimes you find something interesting. So just getting into that mindset,
Yeah.
it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, that's something that not a lot of people know about me actually, is that my dad actually used to take me hunting all the time when I was younger. But as like, as you grow up, you kind of just grow out of things and it kind of happens less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Same deal happened for me. Like the love of nature definitely stuck, but
Yeah.
the hunting not so much. So
I think it's a
it
good experience. Not only do you kind of see the hierarchy of animals, but as well as you get to have this great bonding time with your parent.
definitely, absolutely.
Yeah, kind of going off of like hunting, something that not a lot of people know about me. What's something that a lot of people don't know about you?
Oh gosh. Um, honestly, I'm kind of an open book. Like I don't just tell everybody everything, but if they ask, I'll tell them whatever. But
So then, how about this? Tell me more about your art and your sculpture, because you like briefly mentioned it, but I want to hear more about that. Like, what is sculpture and
gotcha.
paintings to you?
To me, honestly, it's just kind of one of those things that, you know, how you try a lot of stuff, especially when you're a kid and you grow out of it.
Mm,
That's the thing that I didn't grow out of. I guess like I got stuck with it because I earned like an honorable mention ribbon
really?
in like elementary school, and I was like, all right, clearly I'm a genius artist. I
You
should
just
keep
totally
it.
boosted your ego.
Exactly. Yeah, like that, and plus like your parents and everything are always saying like, oh my god, that's so great. This is the best thing you've ever done. And I was like, definitely, I was full of myself as a little kid, and then as I grew up, I was like, okay, well, clearly I'm not that good, but I enjoy it, so I'd like to get better.
Mhm.
And just kind of stuck with it and continued painting, mostly oil painting. Every now and then, when I have the money for it, I'll sign up for like a ceramics class so that I can go and do that and stuff like that. But it's really, you know, it's just one of those things where I've started it and it's too late to turn back now. So I'm just gonna keep doing it.
So, what type of things do you paint?
As you can probably guess, I'm big into nature paintings. I do some bird paintings. Right now, I've got um, a big snake painting. It's
Mm.
literally just painted off of a picture where I'm holding the snake, so it's my hand and the snake, and that's it. I've done a few deer, bunch of birds though. Really, it's honestly just any kind of nature that catches my eye. That's usually what I gravitate towards.
Yeah, what do you do with the paintings when you're done? Do you just kind of gift them away or keep them?
Pretty much. Sometimes I'll sell them to like families and friends, just anybody that is already conveniently aware that I'm painting. And they're like, oh, I really like that. And I'm like, here, you can have it. Every now and then, like, I just get way too covered up in them. Like, I live in a studio apartment, for reference, and I have just an entire corner that is stacked full of canvases and stuff. So when I get too many, I definitely just start kind of handing them off to people and be like, hey, you need some art? You want this?
Yeah, I'm looking at your Instagram right
Need the
now.
floor space.
I'm looking at your Instagram right now, and I have to say, these oil paintings are just absolutely beautiful, Katie.
Thank you. And it's interesting because every now and then I'll just kind of flip back through my own Instagram, and it's fun to look at like the oldest ones that I've done and then look at the most recent ones and be like, man, hey, I actually am improving. Like, there's a point to this.
Yeah, and sometimes it's kind of hard to believe that you're improving when you're so heavily into a project that you're doing right now. It's kind of just trusting the process.
Exactly.
Which is very hard because I've been trying to figure things out, trying to get the podcast out there, trying to get exposure, and there's times where I'm like, am I even like doing well? But you just have to trust the process.
For sure. And honestly, like, I think the fact that you even started it, you're leagues ahead of everybody else that's just thinking about it,
Thank you. The kind words are much appreciated. So what other projects do you have now other than the paintings, bird watching?
Okay, so aside from the bird watching, I've also been kind of interested in fossil hunting recently. I have next to no knowledge about fossils, honestly. So it's more just like feverishly Googling places and trying to follow these directions from like a forum that was written in like 2011 to a road cut, and I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm looking for. I'm just going up.
What sparked that interest for looking for fossils?
Well, so I actually, when I was in college, I minored in geology, and I took one single paleontology class, and it was very interesting, and I don't remember any of it except for how fun the field trips were and how fun it was to like look for fossil teeth and stuff. So
yeah,
that was it. Like, I don't remember any of the book learning related to it, but I really enjoyed just like going out and digging in the dirt. So
did you always know that you wanted to do the career that you have now, which is like the bird catching or animal catching, I should say, or just
No, I definitely was just one of those people that had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew I had to go to college because that's all my parents ever told me was like, yep, you're going to college, not having a choice. So I got there, had no idea what I wanted to major in. So I basically like flipped through the the course catalog, and I only made it through the A's, and I was like, anthropology, that sounds interesting. And I signed up for that. And so I ended up majoring in like archaeology, anthropology with a minor in art and geology, and still graduated without knowing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I got out, and I basically just got a really average job, data entry. I was still traveling a lot because we would go and scan papers and medical documents on site at these various places across the country. So I really enjoyed the traveling aspect, but sitting in front of a computer scanning things for hours was not for me.
Yeah.
So that kind of led me into, just looking for things that would get me outside or at least more active, or basically just using my brain and not just sitting there watching a screen. So it's been a process of finding it, but I really enjoy it now that I'm here.
Yeah, I'm glad that you really have that for yourself, or that you found the answer to your search for what am I going to do with life.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me, Katie. I hope you have more fun with catching critters and oil paintings.
Yep, definitely.
All right, so I'll let you know when this episode gets up.
Cool, awesome. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you, Katie, for being on the show.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye. know. It seems like you're from, or you've kind of had a long journey. Like, what's your name and where are you calling from right now?
I'm calling from Czechia, the Slavic heart of Europe itself, and I'm 23. I'm living here for my whole life, but I was moving from different parts. Uh, so I've lived in our main city, Prague, and I also lived in Brno, which is our center of student life.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in Hradec, which is really small. It was, well, it has different smaller villages around it where my family lives, and that's talking around 5,000 people per village, so
Nice.
quite small.
So normally I have like these questions that I prepare for someone. But when you're telling me a little bit about your story, the first question that I really wanted to ask you is to kind of hear more about your life story, because it sounds very interesting. So to formally ask, like, what's your life story, Agnes?
All right, so since I've lived in a really small area, I always wanted to find more information about life, to know what I want to do, and there was no way to find it in such a small environment. So I moved out of my home at 15. I wanted to study librarianship. It doesn't sound so exciting, but it actually is. It's basically Google, but better. And by studying this subject, I learned how people don't often know what information they're getting. You have to read between the sentences, and you have to know where your information is coming from, which we don't look at. How often, when you read an article, do you look at it and are like, wow, who wrote this?
Mm.
You just see the title. Okay, but who wrote the title? Would it be any different if, for example, about zoology, if someone writes an article about extinct species, is it different from some random person or a student of zoology?
Yeah. I think definitely today with the amount of technology and how fast it's grown, people just kind of take things for granted, and they'll, like you're saying, they'll read an article headline and then just be like, okay, that's just how it is, without really looking into where this information is coming from.
Exactly. And even when you look at our education, in Czechia, we have primary schools and then high schools. We end at 19 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to university. Our university is free, so it's not so impactful. You can go to software engineering without really having a degree, for example. But what I found is we often learn the same information over and over again. In primary school, you learn your history. Then you go to high school, and since they don't know how much you've learned, what's the quality of information you've been given, they just teach you the same thing all over again. And even though as we grow, we are able to grasp more concepts and more information fits in our worldview, we still should be able to have something what we learn, keep it, or maybe we don't need it. We don't need it all, but we definitely don't need it to be relearned all over.
Mm-hmm. I think a good part of that too is how education nowadays is just repeating what they taught year after year after year. It's not really new information sometimes. It's just learning what we learned, what they were teaching 20 years ago.
That's true as well. And on top of that, the information you get is different based on where you're from.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, US or Canada are a different world. I wouldn't be able to tell much about their history, but I know history of my country. While I'm sure I could learn much more, and by studying each other, we should see where we're going better.
Mm.
Because even if that country is far, far away from you, they might have already lived what you're going through. And you can better the way you're handling it, I think.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned, Agnes, kind of not on this podcast or conversation, but you mentioned that you love working with kids and young adults and that you're teaching programming or teaching technology to young girls. Could you tell me more about that?
Yes, well, technology and programming seems far from librarianship, right? So there's a gap I haven't explained yet. I was working on a project that was supposed to help young people around, let's say young adults around 15,
Mm-hmm.
to understand our language and how it works, because Czech is one of the hardest languages to learn in the entire world. And while doing that, I needed to have a website where I could base that. We actually went on to have summer camps, and we were basically a non-profit organization. And while doing that, I learned once again that the information is there, it's just poorly given.
Mm.
And if you give them a book that they like instead of a book that somehow is important to you as a teacher but cannot connect to younger audience, then you teach them the language as well. That's all you need to focus on the person before you instead
Mm.
of the static thing that they don't understand, they don't know it yet. They have to work through what they like to get to the things they don't understand yet.
So then how do you come
And
in and kind of make changes to these young people?
I think you only make change one person to one person. When you share information, you have ads, but again, who clicks on ads? It's the word of mouth, it's friend to friend, what actually makes the difference, and you create a tree or something like that, where if you teach one person, they teach another. And that makes the biggest difference in the end. It's the long run that counts.
Yeah. So on your Instagram, you had something that really stuck out to me, and it was kind of in your bio. It's this phrase, INFJ. And for those who don't know what that means, it's coming from this test, this personality test that you take, this Myers-Briggs test, and it's the smallest percentage of people that make up this one personality. And as a fellow INFJ, I found this very interesting, and I totally see where you're coming from and how you're wanting to make a change in people's lives and just connect with people. How has being an INFJ affected everything for you?
I wouldn't get where I am if I wasn't INFJ, I think. We normally look at personality tests as something we take for fun, and maybe we're more introverted or extroverted, but what it actually is, some uh, gentleman in the last century coming up with some test we don't know anything about. What this MBTI test is different in is that we know exactly how it came up to be, that it's relevant for us, and even who was a different personality type. That's how I connected with it so well. And it's a great tool to know yourself so that you can help others. And again, that's the starting with one person. Perhaps the starting with one person isn't necessarily what you share with another person,
Yeah.
but what you learn about yourself first.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think with this Myers-Briggs test, I think it's really awesome to figure out new perspectives, and it kind of gives you insight on why you are the way you are.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And what other people were similar to you and how life treated them.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really awesome that you're helping people, just young people. What's next for you, Agnes?
I ended with the project I was talking about,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm looking for something new and maybe more technology based. Because as you already said, technology is everything for us. It's
Yeah.
how we view our information. It's how we share it. It's where we get it. And it's sometimes like basing our decisions on a coin. You know, you flip a coin, but who gave you the coin?
Mm.
So teaching young people about technology is teaching them how to treat information, how to find them, how to know if they're biased or if they're uh, black and white or not. They rarely are.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Agnes, for chatting with me. I'm sorry to cut you off. I didn't know if you finished.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, thank you so much, Agnes, for chatting with me.
Thank you. It was really nice.
Yeah, it's nice to just see who you are and hear a little bit about your life story.
And nice to meet fellow NFAJ person.
Yes, likewise. All right, well, I'll keep in touch, Agnes.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye. Once again, thank you Bianca, Katie, and Agnes for being on today's episode. If you want to check out those nature photos and the oiling pictures, the paintings rather, the oil paintings? Yeah, the oil paintings, you can find Katie at our Instagram at reteet. I'm not even sure how to say this. Reteet Teeter. And that's RETEETTEETER. Yeah, there we go. Also, special thanks to the artists in today's episode. Thank you, Luke Rembo, Eric Godlow, and Bailiff. You can find all of their songs and those artists on the YouTube Music Library. There we go. If you want to hear more about Milking Ardor and just be updated, you can follow me on Instagram at _Spence_R_. If you want to see like the spelling of that, you can look on the page, the Milking Ardor page, and it's up there in the bio. Also, check out milking.ardor on TikTok for exclusive content. As well as, if you want to see some extra additional content, and I'm coming out with some new stuff on my YouTube channel for Milking Ardor, it'll be on there. And you can find that on Pandable. Capital Pandable. And yeah, I'm very excited for the new stuff coming out. I feel like I'm not really in the vibes right now because it's pretty late and people are sleeping here. So I should just end it here. So once again, thanks for joining me on this week's episode of Milking Ardor, and I will see you later.